class, this is Dr. Karsten, and today I'd like to talk with you about remainders. What do we do with remainders? Remainders are what's left over when we've been making things or lining things up or basically dividing. And when we're dividing numbers, we often end up with remainders. What do we do with them? What should we do with them? Well, the answer is it depends. It depends on the problem. So we're going to do 3 quick problems and we are going to understand what to do with remainders from those. So here's my first problem. You can see my lovely art. You can see that there are 9 friends who want to go on a canoe trip. So let's just quick count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now the rule with these canoes is that you are allowed to have 2 people in one canoe. How many canoes are they going to need? So let's take a look at this problem. So we have 9 friends and we are going to be putting them into groups of 2. We're going to be putting 2 of them into a canoe. So let's show that. And again, each canoe can hold 2 people. Just think about that for a second. Each. Remember when we hear that word each, we have like a hint that we might be dividing or multiplying. In this case, we are dividing into groups of 2. We are splitting up these 9 friends into groups of 2. So here's 1 canoe. So those 2 friends are happy they got in a canoe. Here's another canoe. So those 2 friends are happy. Here's another canoe. Those 2 friends are happy. And here's another canoe. And those 2 friends are happy. But oh no, we have 1 person left over. They're going to be really sad if they get left on the bank and everyone else goes and has a wonderful canoe trip. So what should we do with this remainder? So we took 9, we divided it into groups of 2. So we took 9, we divided it into groups of 2, and we ended up with 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 2. Here's 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, and 4 groups of 2. And then we have this remainder of 1 person. What do we do with that 1 person? Well, in this particular case, we would put them in another canoe. We would need 1 more canoe. This remainder tells me to add 1 onto this total. It tells me that I need 1 more canoe so that this person will have a big smile and be happy on this canoe trip. We'll have an empty space in the canoe. Here's a hint for you. If you ever do that, flip the canoe backwards. Sit in the front seat but facing backwards. It makes it easier. So what do we need? We need 5 canoes. So in this case, the remainder told me to add 1 more onto here. And it's not because there's a 1 here, but it's because we had a remainder, but that person couldn't be left out. We had to include them. Let's do a similar problem. Let's talk about another trip. So let's say I'm taking my class on a trip. And let's say that I have 25 kids in my class. And that they're, including myself, we are going to have 5 adults. Let's have 5 adults going on this trip. So I have 4 parents coming along, so there's me and 4 parents. So we have 25 kids. And let's just kind of show this. And we have 5 adults. Now, each bus, did you hear that word? Each bus can hold 20 people. So if I have 1 bus, it's going to be able to hold 20 people, and each one of these buses can hold 20 people in it. Again, love my art. So first things first, we need to know how many people are going on this trip. We need to have our total. And if I do that, if I do 25 plus 5, what I get is that I have 30 people going on this trip. But now I have to divide those 30 people into groups of 20. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put 20 people on this bus, and let's show that. So I put 20 people on this bus, but I still have 10 people left. 30 minus 20 is equal to 10. Now what happens? What happens to the rest of those people? Well, we need another bus. So we have 1 bus. So again, we took 30 and we're dividing it into groups of 20. So 20 people went on that bus, and then I have these 10 people left over, and they're going to be really sad. Imagine if the class was going on a trip and you were one of the 10 people that didn't make it on that bus. So what do? We get another bus. So we're going to have 10 empty seats on this bus, and that's okay because everyone got to go on the trip. So again, when we did 30 divided by 20, we got one bus that was full, and then we had 10 remaining. What did that 10 remaining tell us to do? It told us that we had to get another bus. We needed to get 2 buses. So again, we had one full bus, and then we got another bus. We needed 2 buses. That remainder of 10, it told us, get another bus. So again, this is one type of problem. It could be similar to this. It could be, let's say you are boxing up items, books, and you can fit 5 books in a box. Well, if you have 2 books left over, you can't just leave them sitting out. You need to pack them up. Maybe you're moving. Maybe you're switching classrooms. Maybe it's the summer. Teachers pack up their books at the end of the year. You can't just leave the books out, so you would have to get a whole other box to put those books in. All right, so now let's think about a different kind of a problem. Let's think about a problem where we're making apple pies. You guys know I like to make apple pies. And so let's say that I have 20 apples to make apple pies. So I have a total of 20 apples. But each apple pie needs 8 apples. And I hope you heard that each word. So one pie needs 8 apples. So how many pies can I make? What's going to happen? So I have 20 apples exactly. So let's go ahead and let's imagine that I'm baking these pies. So let's make our first pie. So here's our first pie. And I'm going to put 8 apples in this pie. So I had 20 apples. I put 8 apples in this pie. So again, I'm taking 20 and I'm dividing it into groups of 8. So now I put another 8 apples in this pie. So now I've used up 8 plus 8 is 16 apples. You can just skip count. 8, 16. If I make another pie, there would only be 4 apples in that pie. I would only have 4 apples left, and that is because 20 divided into groups of 8 gives me 2 whole pies, and then I have 4 leftover apples. So in this case, I have a remainder of 4. So I made 2 whole pies, 8 and 8, 2 groups of 8, but then I have 4 leftover apples. If I made a pie and I only used half of the apples that you're supposed to use, that's not going to be a very yummy pie. So in this case, we would just save those apples. We would kind of drop the remainder. So the total number of pies we would make is that we could make 2 pies, and then we would have 4 apples left over that we would save maybe for lunch tomorrow, or maybe I would make some other yummy dish that only needed 4 apples, or maybe I'll go to the store and buy 4 more apples and make another pie. But the point is that for this one, you don't make a whole nother pie just for those 4 apples. It wouldn't taste good. You don't have enough apples to make a pie. So for this, we would just save those apples and we would only make 2 pies. So this would be your answer, the 2, the whole number part of the remainder here, the whole amount of pies. Okay, I hope that this was helpful to you and that now you will understand remainders a little better and what to do with them. All right, have a great day. Bye, class.